We're currently in a heat wave. The last video in this series was wholly unsuccessful, but my goodness, I have spent the last 7 days photographing seabirds here in the Costa del Sol. Since hitting my mid-30s, all I want to do is see birds. Seabirds, do you get it? So this heat wave in Europe has actually brought out some remarkably interesting flora and fauna. And with heat waves, quite often comes weird little storms as well. It's actually my birthday week right now, and this year is taking me on a little bit of a journey of self-discovery. I'm about to embark on quite a big journey that I've never had to do before. I mean, realistically, isn't that every single year, every single birthday, you end up doing something brand new that you've not done before? This plunge is gonna effectively shape the rest of my life. So I've been feeling just a little bit apprehensive and nervous about the future. And I can tell you that there is something so beautiful in just staying still and watching wildlife. And in this case, using my Canon R8 and my G9 too, I think today's video is gonna actually be a bit successful. Of course, as I'm just about to film, the wind has decided to pick up ever so slightly, which is great. So buckle up, girly wigs. I'm gonna take you through my week photographing seabirds and some bonus little creatures. So I've been scouting these locations for a little while, and I actually posted one of the photos that I took a long time ago. I'm talking like several months ago now. I posted it on Instagram and it got a massive response from you guys, and also Lumix reposted it, which I'm so pleased about. But I thought I would go and start there, as that seems to be the best place for me to actually see some wildlife and some birds. Unlike the last video. This is Mijas Costa in the Costa del Sol. So I have actually found Mijas Costa to be a perfect place to see seabirds. I think it's because the beaches aren't too busy, and there's lots of these little rocks that are vaguely out at sea that all these seabirds can come and just sort of stand around and feel kind of removed, I think, from humanity. These delightfully faraway shots were taken with my Canon R8 and also my 100 to 400 variable aperture. Now, this lens punches so high above its weight. Every time I use it, I am so surprised by just how good this combination is. I believe the Canon R8 uses the same sensor as the R6 Mark II, I think? It's a beautiful sensor and it creates beautiful images. I've been bitten on my leg. Great news. So these delightfully faraway shots are taken with my Canon, and they're actually of the common buzzard. Now, this isn't technically in the Costa del Sol. Well, I mean, it is in the Costa del Sol. I mean, it's not in Mijas. This is where it was, up here. You can't see because you can't even hear me because you're on static cameras right there. But up in the skies above here, buzzards fly around, and they are birds of prey, and it does make me concerned for a little golden dog that I have that might look like a little weasel to something flying above. And as I say, it does give me a slight cause for concern for Biscuit being out here by himself, but very rarely is he. Because as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, careful now. But they are up so high that I'm almost not too fussed about it. So these little birdies are called ruddy turnstones, and they're part of the sandpiper family. I didn't didn't realise this was actually a family and not just a specific type of bird, but they love to play this little chasey game of running up and down the shore, probably avoiding waves, although I must say a few of them actually got their feet soaked. To be a little bird on the beach getting your feet soaked. Is that weird? That kind of sounds a bit weird. Who wants wet tootsies? Now, from a little break from the birdies, I'm about to show you a mildly awful beast. Because storms bring about weird and wonderful flora and fauna, as I mentioned. Prepare yourself. It's an Egyptian locust. I didn't actually realise it was that at the time. I thought it was a large grasshopper, but after storms, they're quite common in these grassy areas. We've had quite a lot in our garden recently, and all they like to do is this weird little... shimmy like this, and I'm wondering if that is a defense mechanism against small birds. Oh, seabirds, to kind of emulate a leaf across the floor maybe and be like, don't eat me, I'm just on my way to the shops. Staying with the storms, there has been lots of weird little bugs creeping out of the woodwork actually, after this one particularly. This, I have never seen this before in my life. I love moths. Kind of a weird thing to say. I also love butterflies, but I think I like moths a little bit more because they're kind of like the weird night cousins of butterflies. This beautiful fluffy little podgepot is actually a poplar hawk moth. It's so weird looking. I've never seen anything like this. Have you seen anything like weird, delightful? If it was bigger, it would feel like maybe it would give you, you could like cuddle it like a toy. It would be really soft. They do kind of make me a bit uncomfortable. Like I do sort of look at them and go, I don't know what you're gonna do. But I always loved moths and I'm not gonna apologize for it. So in the images, this one is so big that it's kind of hard to tell just how big she is. She sat perfectly all day and I managed to get so many shots and videos of her. I was very surprised. I used multiple different cameras for this. I tried out my Lumix S9. I tried out my G9 II, which also features in this video. Little bit of a sidetrack here. I love my G9 II, but the 100 to 300 I had a little bit of higher expectations for. It's a beautifully light lens, but the chromatic aberration at the long end is... it's a lot, and that's kind of sad. It almost makes the images unworkable. Even with spending, some time in Lightroom, it's still kind of hard to get a viable outcome from them. Okay, I've been standing in the sun now for, about 15 minutes. My goodness me, she is toasty, but I'm slathered in SPF, so we're doing okay. But that is enough about bugs. We're back to the seabirds now. These birds were by far the easiest to capture, and they were everywhere. I mostly saw them in groups of 3 or 4, and they were just posing on the rock here. I assume that they were airing out their wings after just being silly buggers in the sea. These are great cormorants, and they're also known as the great black cormorant. Or apparently, the black shag if you're from New Zealand. Let's not say we did. They're mostly found in shades of black, white, and this sort of grey-brown colour, except for this small flash of yellow on their beak. And in the Mijas Costa, they are all over the place. They just pose for ages, and it's actually probably the easiest task I've had all week, is photographing these birds. I think the 100 to 400 RF lens for Canon, the variable one, is at the moment my favourite telezoom lens. It's actually so much of a favourite lens that I'm considering getting the Canon R5 Mark II because this lens is breathtaking. It creates incredible images for just how light and cost effective it is. The only issue it has, which I guess is kind of a feature because it's so light and affordable, is the fact that on the slow end it is f8. So you do kind of have to pump up your ISO a little bit if you're not having a bright day, but I've been very lucky this week. Every single day has been bright. Also, a very special animal to show you now. Pidge. Oh good, something is making a god-awful noise over there. What is that? What manner of creature are you? So if you're not familiar with the Micro Four Thirds system, the G9 II is a Micro Four Thirds camera. It is a crop sensor camera. So everything that you do and get on a Micro Four Thirds camera has a crop factor from full frame of 2. In very simplistic terms, if you have a lens that is 100 millimeters on a Micro Four Thirds camera, it's equivalent to a 200 millimeters in terms of framing as a full frame camera. You have to double the aperture, you have to double your shutter speed in some cases, and your lens also is equivalent to double in a roundabout way. I wholeheartedly want to fall in love with the Micro Four Thirds system, but I think I just need to invest in more professional glass for it. But then that brings into the question, would I rather invest in the glass for Micro Four Thirds, or would I rather do that for my full frame setup? I have a Sony A7C and a Canon R8, which are my current full frame setups. I also have a Lumix S9, but I class that as more like a vlogging camera, if you like. So I'm pretty much covered by all of the systems, and that makes me hesitant to dive into the Micro Four Thirds system at a professional level, because can I just use my full frame camera to get more magical results? The thing is magic can be created with the G9 too. And it does happen occasionally. I just feel like it happens more frequently with my Canon. And the RF 100 to 400 is a lens, as I say, that punches way above its weight for its class. It is an incredible lens. Much like how I've been feeling in life at the moment, I feel like I'm in a position where I'm trying to make the magic happen, but I have to wait for it to happen. And that feels a little bit strange. I'm a very driven, go-getter kind of person, and I'm literally in a place now where I have to wait to hit these barriers and hit these gatekeeping moments like head on, so that I can actually continue with the life that I want to build here. I'm just gonna have to wait, and my goodness me. It's not that I hate waiting, it's that I hate waiting with an unknown variable. Like, I don't know how long I have to wait. I don't know. Anyway, back to seabirds. This is a grey heron. I have a little feeling that this one might be a juvenile, as I don't think it fully has their classical pointy, droopy style neck feathers just yet, but he was quite happy to just dither around in the water and catch a little fish. I was very lucky this week to actually see some of these birds doing their little hunts. At first you kind of think, what have they seen? Because they'll freeze for ages and then just shoom. Now these little divas are not technically seabirds, but they are everywhere along the Costa del Sol, and you will hear them before you see them. This is a monk parakeet. And as birds go, they're actually kind of hard to capture in flight because they move quick. Before you're ready for anything, they're like shoom, straight past you. It's one of those birds that you have to sit and wait if you spot one and wait for it to fly away, and then almost like you're shooting a speedway race car, you kind of have to pivot with it and just hope for the best, really. They also have a funny tendency to leap immediately out of trees. These birds do make me feel quite uncomfortable. But I love all birds, especially the hideous ones. In fact, probably the more hideous, the better, really. These are Eurasian whimbrels, and it almost looks like they've got eyeliner going from the tip of their mischievous little snout beak all the way around their eyes and beyond. A lot of the coastline here has a plethora of different tree types, and honestly, sometimes just stopping and waiting can yield some bizarre little visitors. I'm not quite sure what kind of bird this is. I think it might be a house sparrow, but what I can say is it is eating a leaf. I honestly had no idea that birds even ate leaves. I don't know if that sounds perhaps a little bit ignorant or uneducated. Maybe it's getting it for some sort of like nest debris. I've not seen a bird eat a leaf like this before, and I thought you could kind of tell what the diet of a bird was from the beak shape. And from something like this, I sort of would assume that this would mostly be eating seeds? No? Leaves. Delicious leaves. Now this little beast might be the most fascinating that we see today, because this is a sanderling, which only nests in the coldest of tundras, mostly north of Svalbard. Only a handful of pairs breed each season. So I feel incredibly lucky to have spotted her on her lovely sunny Costa del Sol holiday. I can only assume that she's been to a beach club.
Unexpected item in backing.
In my last video here, I explained how drained I feel from the current state of affairs in the world and the current state of social media. I feel like I can't go 20 seconds on social media without having something absolutely ruin my day. And not only that, with the current state of short form social media, it feels like, well, I'm just going to say it, I'm not very good at short form media. I just want to show you pictures of birds. I don't want to have to do a hook. I don't want to have to snatch your attention in 9 seconds. I want to be able to tell a full story. And sometimes that needs to be longer than 7 seconds. I've also spent some time reflecting on some of the comments that I got on my last video. And I have a feeling that some of you might be feeling the same as me. You've perhaps hit your mid-30s and you have a slight feeling that maybe things aren't going to plan. Maybe the kind of trajectory that you've been sold in life isn't quite how you expected things to turn out. I can definitely tell you that. I didn't think that my pure existence would become such a political culture warfare moment that actually it leads to a severe increased amount of danger towards me and people like me. A huge telling point for me was the fact that very few corporations changed their logos to be pride-friendly this year. Huge telling factor. The tides have definitely shifted, and I don't know where that goes, and it leaves me feeling a little bit nervous. So effectively, I've used this little project of taking myself out of the online and putting myself in the real, honing a skill that brings me joy, which is just watching birds. Just watching birds. I just want to watch some birds, take beautiful photos of birds, maybe put them in my portfolio and see where they can take me. See what secrets they have to share. These beautiful little creatures that when feeling under pressure can fly away wherever they want. Talking about flying away wherever they want, last time I was here on this channel, I was in my back garden saying there's no birds anywhere. Throughout the week, guess what happened? We had plenty of bird visitors, and this one was on top of our little outbuilding. Look at this little beast. It's got beautiful yellow breast feathers and really small dark brown wings. It's part of the wagtail family, which you can really see given the sense of its very long tail. I'm pretty sure they use this for balance, but I'm sure an ornithologist in the comments might be able to elucidate further on my research findings. Are we doing science today? I guess we sort of are a little bit. Also, this bird won Bird of the Year in 2025. Who gets to decide Bird of the Year? I don't know. This curious little piglet is a common blackbird, And I often see him later in the day as he loves to fly into our garden and tease Biscuit. Biscuit actually will see him and run around and bark and scream and bark. But this little bird keeps coming back for more. I'm not even sure why he comes into the garden, as we don't really have a lot for materials, I don't think, like nest materials, or even, I don't think we've got a lot of food. Maybe we do. But he keeps coming back, and I must see him multiple times a week here. And if anything, I think this week has actually taught me to get outside and disconnect just a little bit more. I feel much more connected to myself and my inner peace when I'm doing something I enjoy. And for me, that is taking photos of birds. I hope you've enjoyed our week with birds today. And if you've liked the video, buy me a coffee. And I'll see you next time.